Hello and welcome back to the first episode of my Nottingham Forest career mode. We're going to be trying to play this as realistically as possible, but for you to understand what's going on, you're probably going to need to know a couple of the key characters that are going to feature throughout this season. I've put the highlights of our pre-season on the screen right now, so you can watch it while I introduce each one of these key characters. First up is ageing striker Lewis Grabban. Bought for £7 million in 2018, he's hit over 50 goals in just 4 seasons. But at 34 years old, he is probably in his final championship season. It's up to him to try and fire Forest back to the Premier League. João Carvalho is the record signing, but he's not lived up to his £13 million price tag. Fans think this is his last season to impress before having to get rid, and he'll need to if Forest are to be successful in this FIFA series. On loan from Middlesbrough, Jed Spence is a key part of how we're planning to play, with very attacking wingbacks. If he can play like he does in real life, he's going to be really useful for us both going forwards and in defence. Brice Samba is a bit of a cult hero at Nottingham Forest. He pulls off the impossible almost every week, and he has a legendary amount of charisma and really enjoys banter with the fans. That's why everyone loves him at Forest. Forest fan Joe Worrell might not be the club captain, but he's absolutely the leader on the pitch. Having refused the move to the Premier League multiple times, most Forest fans think this is his last season at the club, where he'll move to the Premier League either with Forest or without them. And finally, son of former Forest favourite, Brennan Johnson is the new hotshot up front for Forest. Refusing to sign a new contract, both the club and the player will want a huge season so he can be sold for the highest amount possible. So, how did pre-season go? Well, it was a good opportunity, of course, to play some of the younger players, and Brennan Johnson was someone who impressed. He scored a hat-trick of good goals against Glimt, and of course, he's going to be key this season playing at right wing. Ryan Yates was so good playing at centre-back that I've actually retrained him there as his main position, and it's even better because he's got an overall increase from 70 to 71. Ojeda Ngada is a bit lightweight in central midfielder, so I will be looking to scout a stronger box-to-box midfielder for January. Cafu and Colback are both in my squad, a bit stronger, but they're much less capable on the ball. So if you can think of a big, strong centre midfielder who can also attack and defend, please do let me know in the comments below. Finally, there is literally no cover at left wing back, so it's definitely a position we're going to try and strengthen, and I have the perfect man in mind. Matthew Bondswell used to play for Nottingham Forest Academy before he left to go to Leipzig, and eventually he's ended up at Newcastle United. He was a former sprint champion for his age groups, despite this not being reflected on FIFA with his really low sprint speed, but we can develop him and hopefully he'll be first team ready by the time Max Lowe returns to Sheffield United. Anyway, that's enough about pre-season, we need to get into the matches. Our first game of the season got off to a bit of a flyer. Philip Zinkernagel led a counter-attack from a corner, held off the Coventry defender coolly, and slotted it into the far corner. However, it didn't last too long. Coventry turned on the prime Barcelona tiki-taka, featuring no less than 4 back heels before a good finish equalised the game. Their passing game continued to dominate, with a second goal being smashed in from the edge of the box only 3 minutes later. Forest were down 2-1 at half-time, but it was still all to play for. We continued to push up, and with a slick passing move of our own, half-time substitute Cafu pulled an easy chance across for Grabban, but a total air kick led to absolutely nothing. Only minutes later, some excellent dribbling from Grabban combined with another good passing move led to the ball going in the net, but this time it was judged to be offside. With Forest legs getting tired from going for the win, Coventry did manage to get a late sucker punch to all but finish the game. Only a couple of minutes later, Lyle Taylor could have got Forest back into it, but it was a really good save from the Coventry goalkeeper. Followed by this, a counter-attack from Coventry did actually lead to the game finishing, with another good goal after a couple of jammy rebounds falling to Coventry, but the finish is undisputed, in off the bar, and it was 4-1 to finish the match. It was an embarrassing first game for us, but we didn't have to wait long for revenge against Coventry, because we played them 2 days later in the League Cup. Facing Coventry again and getting off to a great start again, Lolly and Davidson Bondswell linked up well, winning a corner. Man Mountain Keenan Davies did what Bondswell couldn't and scored from the header. After half an hour, Davies held the ball up well. Garner did a lunge through ball perfectly to Johnson's feet, who took the easy option by pulling it back for Davies to smash in a second. Coventry responded with some top quality one-touch football, with Godden scoring against Forest yet again 2 games in a row. Surely we couldn't throw this match away like we did the last one, but Davies had a chance to get his hat-trick and messed it up yet again. Late in the game, Lolly saw pass of the match to Carvalho, who made sure the game was over. His breakdance hopefully paying back some of the 13 million to the fans, but his goal definitely helped pay back with a spot in the next round of the Cup for Nottingham Forest. With the games coming thick and fast in August, only a couple of days later we were back at it again against Bournemouth. We didn't have an early goal this time, but after 30 minutes, Lowe, our wingback, links with Garner, who manages to get another assist, this time for Keenan Davies. Jed Spence did some nice play and nearly made it 2-0 with a good pullback, but no one was there to tap in his cross. We had some more solid play from Forest, and Brian Ojeda surged from midfield into the box before refusing to pull it back and actually grabbing his first ever Forest goal. Really nice stuff. Half-time passed, and yet again Bournemouth's 3-defender tactic left them wide open at the back. Davies held it well and flicked it round for Zinkernagel. The finish, however, probably did end up in the car park. Later, Davies again with some good hold-up play, this time using some stepovers, and saw Ojeda bombing through the middle. He actually cut it back this time for Johnson to smash one in the top corner, 3-0 to the Reds. But if you thought Bournemouth weren't dangerous, they showed that they could actually score at any time. Marcondes floating one in from the edge of the D, and it looked like it could be a nervous finish. Only 5 minutes before the end, Samba prevented a certain goal, and then at the other end, defender Jack Stacey cleared one off the line to make sure the game ends 3-1 to Nottingham Forest. In our final match of the episode, at home to Blackburn, once again we started off really well. James Garner using some of his pace to break from midfield, only to narrowly miss to the right of the goal. Just before half-time, Gallagher managed to receive the ball 30 metres out and submits an early contender for goal of the season. 5 minutes after the break, good dribbling from Brereton Diaz, and Gallagher again scores a pretty special goal. This time a sideways volley which Samba had no chance of stopping. Even at 2-0, you can't write this Forest side off. Johnson this time is the provider and slots a perfectly weighted through ball through to Graben, but unlike Ojeda in the previous match, he could not finish and should have used the unselfish cutback. Only minutes later, Graben and Zinkernagel do one of the biggest 1-2s I've ever seen, and it results in yet another big chance. This time it's a bit harder, but Graben does really well to even get the header on target. Once again, Graben and Zinkernagel link up really well, before another early cross is floated to the back post. This time it's Brennan who gets on the end of it and scores his second goal of the season. With time running out, again Zinkernagel puts an early cross to the two unmarked players at the back post, but unfortunately for Forest, both of them were actually offside. With the last few kicks of the game, Zinkernagel this time manages to get into a shooting position instead of a crossing one. Having seen the selfish option not work earlier, he chooses to pull it back, but Graben manages to miss yet another easy shot, and the game ends 2-1 to Blackburn. Thank you all for watching the first episode of this series. I hope you really enjoyed it and hope you stick around for the rest, which will be coming out every other week or so. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.